Greetings, my name is Michael Dahl. I am a San Bernardino City Unified School District demonstration teacher teaching mathematics at Middle College High School. In this short video, I wanted to share with you an activity that I learned about several years ago that I modified to meet the needs of my students and have further redefined to be able to use in this distance learning environment. The activity I feel is really helpful in establishing a level of trust and establishing a level of safety and security with students with me and also with students with each other, especially with respect to California's social and emotional learning guiding principles, and specifically the third principle of building capacity, and within the sub context here in A, positive relationships and belonging. So creating an environment where students feel that they belong, where each individual feels valued, each individual feels safe, and that they're beginning to create a network of caring peers within their classroom. The way the activity worked when we were in class, physically in class, is I would give students a 3x5 card to put responses and to put their name on one side, and I would collect those by class. And the responses were to questions that seemed to be really random and arbitrary. However, the questions were designed in a way that, one, they related to what I thought student interests were, and two, they were choices. So they were either one of three choices, one of two choices. And the purpose of this really is in the after effect. After that day when we ask the questions, then for the next several days, perhaps even the next month, at the beginning of every class, I would read off some of the responses, and I wanted the questions to narrow down those responses until we had one student. The way this worked in a distance learning environment is I asked students the questions through a Google form and a survey. So I asked students their name and identify the class period. Then I asked some questions where they had choices, Marvel or DC, cats, dogs, or neither, what they prefer on pizza, Apple or Android. But then the key element here at the end was something that they were something interesting about themselves, perhaps a hobby or perhaps a skill or something they're interested in that they were willing to share out loud about themselves. So in class, we would all stand up together. So we have this group, this community, everyone is standing together. And then I would start to read the responses from the mystery scholar, and we would try to see if we can identify who the mystery scholar is. And as I read the responses, if the responses did not describe an individual, for example, if I read that this person marked Marvel, however it was DC, then they would sit down. So the way we adjusted that in our distance learning environment is we had our cameras on. All the students had their cameras on. And then as I went through the responses, and the responses are captured then in an Excel file, as I read the responses, then you saw that some of the cameras coming off until at the conclusion we identified the student. Then this is where the real empowerment of the activity came from, is that generated a short conversation where that student felt safe and secure to share about themselves, introduce themselves. One, we got to learn a little bit from the activity, but then I asked the students to some clarifying questions. I paraphrase some of the responses. We have a short discussion, and I finished the conversation with asking them if they can recall a moment or an instance where they showed that they're trustworthy, where they showed that they've been helpful. And by students sharing this, and students each sharing this, and showing that I'm keeping track here of each student, you see that I've highlighted in green the students that have responded, and I still have some students that still I'm going to ask. By the end of the activity, and it could take a few weeks, it could take over a month, I still have ensured that each and every student has been heard, and I feel that each and every student feels that they've been valued. And then this also gives me a platform as a documentation to kind of keep progress. As I learn more about students, then I can add extra information here in the column. And I also put a column here when I'm calling on students to make sure that I'm addressing each and every student, that I'm not calling on just certain individuals more often than I'm not the other class. So that is the Mystery Scholar activity. Again, I modified it to meet the needs for my students, and I feel that it's been really successful. The students and their survey responses for how our class is going have reported this has been one idea, one feature that they've been responding positively on, that they really enjoy this activity and they really enjoy getting to know one another. And so I invite you to modify it to meet your needs. And thank you for watching.